After the game the other night, Rocco called me after the fact, and I kind of bailed out. So that was part of today. This isn't about me. It's your typical weekly rundown. But I thought I would at least come in while we said we'll make shift, put something together, and answer a few questions quickly before Scott gets in here. From my side of it, I guess, probably to head off some of the questions, been asked a lot about, did you expect this and all those kind of things. I think the one thing that I kind of go back to when we made the decision last November 11th about where the program was going to go is that we still felt like we had plenty of talent in the room. And I know that we could do a lot of things with it. You can see the explosive talent on offense for sure. And then as we brought Scott in during the press conference I thought I was trying to, not put him on the spot, but, understand that we're still hoping to be in the bowl hunt. And to come into the season to do it. And I don't think we wanted to set the expectations too high. I think Scott's done a good job managing those as well. But the way the years unfolded, the conference is very competitive. We're all stacked together, with the exception of Clemson, so it's made it nice. There's been some great games and some big upsets. So we got to face Syracuse this week, who just really put a beat down on Duke, at Duke. But you can see it makes it fun. This is what college football is fun. We got 2 games left, and I'm sure everybody like athletic department right now is doing bowl preparation like us, that it could be a myriad of options because we're all stacked in there close together. Certainly looking at Virginia Tech, Pitt, Wake Forest, and us in terms of who's going to get the better of the bowls of the tier ones. But we got to do our job on Saturday to give it coach speak and take care of Syracuse so we can move on to the next week. But it's a lot of options. But we're excited. It's produced a lot of cool stuff. Javion with 1,000 yards since Bilau's really, something to celebrate. And we got 2 games left. With what we've endured on the, Puma getting hurt early and having Evan step in, it's made the season a lot of fun getting us to this point in bowl eligibility. Scott and the staff have done a great job. Can't say enough about what they've done and coming in. And I know we use the culture word a lot, and there's a lot that's behind that word, but there's buy-in across the board, from our athletic department and the support we've, provided the football program, and then inside the facility, it took time. And I would say that even as we were leaving spring football, I think guys were trying to sort it out, how bought in they were. It felt like it at the end of spring football from the feedback that I got from players, and it's certainly evident that I'm as excited for the seniors that stayed around, the 26 seniors that are here, and kids that defensively went through multiple coordinators during their career. But it was not just excitement, it was emotional. And for those who were in the locker room and got to see some of the seniors, they were as emotional as they were excited about all of it. And I think that's why I carried over into the bus and onto the plane and the whole way home is how they felt about where they are. And, Scott's great at regrouping and get us ready for Syracuse on Saturday. But it is pretty rewarding to know we're bowl eligible at this point.
You are bowl eligible, 2 games left. Is it ahead of schedule, or is it better than expected for you at this point?
For me?
Yes.
No, it feels like we're on schedule, and we just, in terms of getting the program where we thought it could go, we've had turnarounds in our past, from Coach Cooper to Coach Smith, from 1-10 to 7-5. I think for really good programs, they turn around quickly. I think we've seen that when there's been adversity, even at Penn State, they quickly turn around from their adversity. We've seen other athletic programs, or whether it be football or basketball or whatever it might be, turn around quickly. In football, you only got 12 games versus a longer basketball. But I think it speaks volumes about the program in general. And, the support we've had from our fans has been helpful, and of Coach Satterfield and the staff has been helpful. But feels like we're on pace, and now, you can look ahead. It's easy to do. Think about where we are in recruiting and all those things. But, for now, we want the team just to focus on Senior Day and really, really support the seniors. We hope the fans come out. I've only done weather once in my life, and it was 2 weeks ago or a week ago. And I say it's going to be clear and beautiful for the fans to be there and celebrate our seniors.
Vince, obviously the play on the field is a lot different, but behind the scenes when you're with the guys, just how drastic has that changed from this time a year ago?
quite a bit. I think from where the emotion is around the program, certainly, if you share lunch with the team or when I'm around in the meals on the road trips, in the locker room post game, even the losses, they've really taken them to heart. They know where they've lost opportunities, and by gosh, we've made a lot of mistakes during those games, but they are responding differently and reacting differently to those mistakes this year than last. And I think that's what the fans see is we didn't have a great first half, against North Carolina State. We were making mistakes. We had some dead ball penalties again, but the difference was the second half, and I think that's symbolic of the year.
Vince, you just said you were optimistic that you believe this could happen, but was there a point or maybe a game or moment this season where you felt a little more confident that Louisville could be at this point?
Well, I think just coming into the season, you could see in practice how they were performing. Coming in, particularly, they had taken to Scott's offensive style and execution, and felt like, Brian was every coordinator is gonna have their way they coach and their game plan, right? But I think they've done a great job adapting to the players we have, and trying to figure out how to use the players we have here. And mold it into their offense or their defense. And we can certainly see that at times. And yes, we have to blitz maybe a little more than we might normally, try to get some pressure on the quarterback, which we struggle with. But I think they've done a great job adapting the players to their style, or vice versa.
Vince, are you anticipating anybody asking to talk to Scott after this season about an open position?
I think that's going to happen all the time. There's been so much great publicity around what Scott's done at App State, and now people are more as focused on what he did there as what he's doing here. I mean, I think you guys see that we were ahead of it, thankfully. I mean, there's some great openings this year. The expectation is those kind of coaches that do it well on and off the field are going to be approached. I haven't certainly heard from anybody, wouldn't expect and all that, but I have those conversations. I'm pretty open on those with the coaches. So, do I expect that our talent, people will look to poach them like they have in the past? Yeah. Do I expect them to leave or want them to? Heck no. We hope that they're going to be here a long time and do everything we can with our power to make sure that this coaching staff is here for a long time, because continuity means a lot to success.
Obviously, you want to keep winning, but from your perspective, what kind of things will you be doing behind the scenes if that team does keep winning to secure a bowl, or which bowl the team might get to go to?
Well, I think there is, in our I hate to get ahead of ourselves, but you have to plan ahead. And I think we did a good job in short order 2 years when we got ready for the Tax Layer Bowl. Last year we didn't have an opportunity, but we're way ahead of prep. Coming, probably weeks ago, you start thinking about the what ifs, and you have contingency planning. But from every aspect of it, we've got a pretty deep playbook ourselves from the athletic department. We know what our role is. We want to do it really well with fans. I think you saw right away as soon as we won, the email went out to fans, and we're going to absorb 30% of that ticket price that we get charged on behalf of the fans to get people there. We're doing things differently. We budgeted for it differently on how we're going about it, from marketing, technology, everything.
Two questions, Vince.
Yeah, Tim.
If I'm correct, I think 15-year-old Pappy Van Winkle is $1,500. Are you going to be able to expense that?
No, I don't expense much, as you guys know if you did Open Records. I eat all those costs, and that one was right out of my personal bar at the house. So we'll keep the bottle as a souvenir. I didn't throw that away. It's going to be meaningful, and I'll keep it with our press pass. I may just give it to Scott and let him keep it as his souvenir.
More seriously, the way that the bowl games are structured financially can be fairly disadvantageous to the universities.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there's any latitude in negotiating with the bowls as far as what you're required to do? And are there some that are significantly more attractive than others that you might be eligible for?
Well, on the first point, the conference does all the negotiating. ADs do have some input on bowls, and you'll see our bowl lineup will change a little bit next year, and economics does play into that. Not just on what they pay out, but to your point, Tim, what the expectations are. Tickets is, it's a big expense when you have mandatory ticket purchase as part of that bowl. And, and as we did 2 years ago with Tax Layer Bowl, we did all we could to get military and our, and others involved in buying tickets, sometimes at a discount. and with our fans down in Florida. But we like the Florida Bowls without a doubt because our fans travel well. We have a big alumni base down in Tampa and in that South Florida area. So, you always say, like, love to go to Florida first. But in the same vein, there are some better opportunities, and there's some coming about in the future with the Holiday Bowl in San Diego, and there'll be the bowl up in Fenway Park to come in the future down the road. So there are some other cool opportunities that are great to reward the players, the staff, where you can go. But Florida's always been good to us.
Since you mentioned how this team performs after, say, a loss or even the first half against NC State, has that changed just simply coaching, do you think?
Well, I think one of the things I said that helped validate that we have a great head coach was his post-game speech when we lost to Florida State. The way he went about handling that himself. I mean, he's provided leadership in a lot of ways, and the staff buys into it as much as the players. But when I left the locker room after the Florida State game, it felt pretty good that you see a lot of leaders take things, that are competitive. Football is a very competitive sport. You see coaches that are animated or not animated, both on the sideline and the locker room. What I get exposed to is a very competitive, fiery, competitive head coach, but in a way that he handles the ups and downs very well. And I think that's probably the difference the players have seen, and they've responded well. I think that's why they come in. He made great changes going out in the second half. You saw that we were more aggressive defensively and offensively. We made some great plays. We beat them going downfield.
One more. Do you have time?
Yep.
Just real quick while I got you here, Vince, just what was it like last night at the Lou City game and just being there and a part of that atmosphere?
Well, selfishly for the university, it's great for us to host it. We have good economics in that too. And we get to expose the University of Louisville and our stadium and all that. And that worked great last year. On the other side of it, it's great for the sport in the city. I know our two head coaches are big fans of what's happening in pro sports locally with the men's and now the women's team coming. Karen was really excited about it to get that going. But in the meantime, it was good for us to be able to host it, because we could market our program and facilities. And, I sat at the game with Landon Donovan, and probably one of the greatest players ever in the sport, and how complimentary he was of what we have here and what we're trying to do with the sport at the university, as much as with the pro soccer. He'd like to see the same thing happen in San Diego that's happening in Louisville. Our soccer, yes. Oh, yeah. I'm going to say one thing I'd say while we're talking about that is on our two soccer teams is, the women's soccer teams you saw won their first round game, and they'll go to Provo, play BYU on Thursday night. Today, in about an hour, at 1 o'clock, we have the selection show for the men's soccer. So hopefully we're hosting on Thursday night here, depending on how that comes out based on where we're in the RPI. So we'll be able to follow in the same heels we're doing with all these other sports. Field hockey, obviously unfortunate, but getting to the Elite Eight was, again, the furthest we've ever gone in that sport. And we've done that over the last 18 months. We've gone the furthest we've ever gone in a lot of these: women's golf, softball, volleyball, and it's nice to see it. I wish we'd have got to the Final Four for just he and the team, but good stuff going on right now, and football is doing a great job. All right, thanks, guys.